I'm back. I'm back to look at the 8.4 so that we are able to unpack the entire question paper. So far we have done 8.1, 8.2 and 8.3. We must proceed with 8.4, which is 8.4.1 and 8.4.2. Then we are going to start indulging 8.4.1. Then let us read 8.4. 8.4, it says a school invested a sum of 320,000 rand. Here there is an investment that took place in an investment account to buy a school bus costing an amount equivalent to 950,000 rand. That is the cost of this school bus. Then the first bullet, it says the interest rate for the first 3 years of the investment, it is 5% per annum. Then it says bullet number 2, at the end of the 3rd year, at T3, the school deposited a further 400,000 rand. Remember, initially they invested 320,000. At the end of T3, which is year 3, they deposit a further amount into the same account, which is in this case 400,000 rand into their account. Bullet number 3, it says the interest rate then increased from what was initially given 5%. It increased from 5% to 5.8% for the remaining years of the investment. We don't know how many years for this particular investment, how many years it will take for this investment to mature. We don't know. It was not given to us. Then 1, you need to check the last question of finance. If we have 2 interest rates, which is the first prescript of timeline. Timeline, it has 3 prescripts. 1, if we have more than 1 interest rate, it is a timeline question. It means for you to answer the questions, you need to draw a timeline. 2, if you read the last question of finance and there is a further deposit after the initial deposit, that is a timeline question. Number 3, if there is a withdrawal from the initial deposit after a certain number of years, therefore that is a timeline question. Then in this case, we have 2 interest rate and we have a further deposit. It means the entire question now, it sums to be a timeline question. Then in 8.4.1, we must draw our timeline that is going to emphasize or give us an idea of what has been indicated on our statement of 8.4. Now, first we start with the number of years. We know initially we start at T0, which is the initial investment. This is where the investment starts. As to how many years this investment is going to take, which is what we are supposed to indicate there, we don't know how many years is going to take this investment, but we know any investment it start at T0, at the beginning of investment. 2, after indicating the number of years, you must go and indicate the amounts on our timeline. We know at T0, this is the money that it is initially invested. Then initially the school invested an amount of 320,000 rand into an account. That is indicated at T0 there. That is the first amount at T0. Then bullet number 2, it says at the end of 3rd year. 3rd year means what? T3. Then we must go and indicate that T3 here. Somewhere you put it where you want it, but you must have T3. What is happening at T3? At T3 there is a further deposit. How do we indicate the further deposit? We indicate that by a plus at T3. If there is a withdrawal, you indicate that by a minus. What is our further deposit? The further deposit, it amounts to 400,000 rands. Then these are the 2 amounts that we have there as far as the investing is concerned. Remember, you can't indicate 950,000 for now. Remember here, timeline, we indicate the amount that are there in an investment. This is an amount, this 950, we did not invest it. The money that was invested is this amount, and there was a further deposit on the same investment. This one is the cost of the school bus. Therefore, you don't have to indicate it here for now. Then after the amount, you indicate the interest rates. Bullet number 1, it says the interest rate for the first 3 years, meaning from the beginning of the investment to T3, the interest rate, it remains the same. Then we need to indicate from T0 all the way to T3 to say our interest rate, it was 5% per annum. It means per year. Then from T3 to T, we don't know what is our T, but we know this is the end of our investment. From T3 to the end of the investment, there was an increase in what? In the interest rate. Therefore, that is going to be 5.8%. Let me indicate per annum. The word per annum, it means per year. Per annum also here, which means per year. And before we answer 8.4.1, remember a timeline question, it is compounded. Please, unless they have stated otherwise, unless they have stated to say 5% per annum on the simple interest. If there is no word simple interest, you must know that the timeline question, it is always compounded. In this case, it is compounded per annum, meaning per year. Per annum, per year. That is our compounding period. Then what is 8.4.1? It says calculate the accumulated, the money that was in the investment account at what? At T3, at the third year, which is the T3. We want to know, after we shall have invested this amount, how much will be there at the end of year 3? After what? Investing this amount initial. It means in this case, we are looking for what is called an accumulated. Then, since well I've emphasized earlier to say, under timeline, we must use, it is compounded. Therefore, we must use the compound interest formula that says A is equal to P in bracket 1 plus I all to power of what? Of N. Then A, it is the accumulated. You get it at the end of the investment. Therefore, we want to know at the end of the investment, which is T3, how much are we going to have? How much is the school going to have? Then A3, which is the accumulated amount after a period of what? 3 years. Initially, principal amount, how much did the school invest initially? They invested an amount in rents of 320,000 rents. In bracket 1 plus. Then for the first 3 years, the interest rate, it was 5% per annum. Therefore, per annum means per year. Then the only thing that needs to happen is to divide 5% by 100% only, because the compound period, it says per annum, it means the n becomes 1 now. Then we have 0.05, close bracket. Then we want to find the accumulated amount for a period of what? 3 years. Then n now becomes 3 here, because it says per annum, per year. Then therefore, A3, which is the accumulated amount after a period of 3 years, it will be equivalent to, then 320,000 rent in bracket 1 plus 0.05 all to power of what? Of 3. This gives us an amount that is equivalent to not 7. We have 370,440. That is an amount that will be in the account of the school after a period of 3 years. But remember, there is something that happened. There is something that transpired at T3. What transpired at T3? This is an amount that was there at year number 3. Then they top up this amount with further deposit of what? 400,000. Meaning that this is an amount that was there at year 3. With the same amount that they have there, they further deposit on top of the amount that they have. Then what needs to happen here? We need to plus this amount that they had at T3 with the further deposit. In this case, the further deposit, it is 400,000 rands. We need to plus it at T3 because this further deposit happened at T3. This is going to give us the total that we have at T3. Then answer plus 400,000 rands. This gives us an amount that is equivalent to 770,440 rands. This is an amount that will be there at the end of 3-year period. Mark allocation there, 3 marks there. How do we mark? 1 mark for choosing the right formula, 1 mark for correct substitution, and 1 mark for the final answer of 770,440 rands. That is an amount that will be there at T3. Now we still proceed. I was thinking of clearing some space, but it's fine. Let us just have our timeline with the values and interest rate. Then we proceed to 8.4.2. In 8.4.2, it says, determine how long. Now we are looking for the number of years. Remember here at T3, let me indicate that at T3, we have the total amount of 770,440. We start our investment from here all the way to where it ends. Remember here, we don't go backwards, because now this amount, it was invested initially and it grows to an amount of 770,440 after a further deposit. Then we take our investment from here at T3 to the last number of years for this particular investment. Now it says determine how long it will take the investment to reach required amount of what? 950,000. 950,000, where do we need it? We need it at the end of the investment. It means we need to have an accumulated amount of 950,000 rands. Then now that 950,000, it becomes our accumulated amount. Here is our principal amount. This is an amount that we have at T3. Then this is an amount that we need at the end of the investment. Now we are saying to you how many years it will take this 770,000 rand that we have at T3 to grow to this amount, because this is an amount that we have at T3. Then same, we are going to use our compound interest formula. Remember, from T3 to here, we have a different compounding period. We are not going back. We are going from where we are to the end of the investment. Then A is equal to P in bracket 1 plus I all to power of what? Of n. Then the A now, it becomes what the amount that we need at the end of the investment, which is the accumulated. In this case, we are required to have, the school required to have an amount of 950,000 rand at the end of the investment in order for them to buy that particular bus. Then at T3, how much are they having? At T3, they are having an amount of 770,000 rand. 770,440. In bracket 1 plus. Now, from T3 to the end of the investment, the interest rate changed to 5.8. Then we are going to say 5.8 divided by 100%, which give us 0.058 all to power of what? Of n. Then if you are looking for I or n, the first we have to divide by the principal amount, the P value. Then I'm going to divide here by an amount of 770,000 rand, 770,440. Then this one is going to cancel with this one. Also on the left hand side, divide by the same amount, 770,440. Then rent, cancel with the rent. Then let us use our calculator. 950,000, 1, 2, 3, divide by 950,000, 1, 2, 3, divide by 770,440. This gives us 1,23, which is equal to, now we need to punch this into our calculators. 1 plus 0,058. This gives us, let us go down a bit. This gives us, in bracket, 529 all over 500, all to power of what? Of n. Now, here n is an exponent. We see that the variable that we are looking for is an exponent. Then since well we are having n as an exponent, it means we are dealing with exponential equation. For us to solve for n here, we must introduce logarithms, the rule of logs that we have in technical maths. Then logarithm says log for logarithm, log of what? Base. Remember, base is the number that carry an exponent. In this case, our base, it is 529 divided by 500. Then here we are going to put our results. This is going to be our result, 1,23. Then this is going to be equal, so our exponent in this case is n. Therefore, n, it will be equal to log of our answer, because we have our answer already, 1,23. Then it's going to take 3,7 years. Then the number of years, we need to make sense of 3,7 years. It means 3 years and 7 months. 3 years and 7 months, which is 3,7 years. Now remember, initially here, we invested an amount of 320,000 rand for the first 3 years here. Remember, we can't exclude the 3 years that took place here. Remember, the objective was to invest this 320,000 rand in order to have 950,000. Then from here to here, from 770,440, it took 3,7 years to get here. But from the beginning, remember, we had the 3 years here. Then what needs to happen here? We need to add that 3 years that was there at the beginning. Add that 3 years that was there at the beginning. 3 years here. Then all in all, from T0, it will take plus 3. It will take 6,7 years, which is 6 years and 7 months. Then mark allocation here, 5 marks there. 5 marks there. That is that about this particular question. Question number 8 of Province of Eastern Cape 2023. Total mark there, 17 marks there. Thank you so much.